Hey everyone, this is Lena Patel, and we're talking about bringing out the real estate of you. We're talking about yesterday is gone. Let's talk about what that means for us, for our life, for our business. So my story starts when I was 4 years old. My mother's brother committed suicide when I was 4, and I'll give you a little bit of the backstory. He was in love with a girl, and the girl's parents didn't approve of their relationship. And so separated the pair, flew her to Canada, thinking that that would be the end of the story. Well, they had made a pact with each other. They would talk on the phone every day. They were going to figure out a way to stay connected, to be together. Unfortunately, the girl felt weak. She felt unable to really speak up and share with her parents what was truthful, what she wanted in her life, the love that she felt for this man, and how important it was for her to have this presence. And so she stayed quiet, and as a result, it ate away at her. And my uncle was incredibly supportive. He supported her as best he could, but he felt helpless too. And after a few weeks, so they were talking on the phone every day. After a few weeks, he didn't hear from her, and he got a little bit concerned. The second day, he didn't hear from her. And the third day, I didn't hear from her, and he called her college, her school, and nobody had seen her for a couple of days. So her parents told the story that basically she had had some kind of a heart problem, and so her unexpectedly that came up after they were separated. But what both parents didn't know, and we found out this afterwards, is they made this pact that they would not be able to live without each other, and that was it. They were going to figure out a way to be together or not. So my uncle strongly suspected she took her life, and he, as a result, one day actually drove in his car, he poured gasoline over himself, he lit a match, and he set fire to himself. So that was when I was 4 years old, and you can imagine the devastation that this created in my family when you're faced with something like this. Within a year of that, another one of my mother's brothers committed suicide. He was going through challenges of his own and feeling really affected by his brother's suicide. And so we had this trauma that was going on in our family. And I share this with you because I remember as that 4-year-old girl, that 5-year-old girl, when I was going through this, and in fact, when I was looking over the coffin of, my uncle, and looking at him, feeling the energy, feeling the sea of tears, my aunts, uncles, grandparents, like everyone just deep in their pain, I made a conscious decision that I would never not speak up for what I wanted in my life. Because can you imagine what it feels like to feel like there's no way out but suicide? We have those barriers, there's restrictions that we place upon ourselves that we can't do certain things, or maybe we're living in fear, or maybe we're told that a certain kind of behavior is inappropriate, and so we shut down who we are. We shut down that thing that brings us alive, that makes us sing. We shut that down, and so we start, even if we're not actually creating, not suicide's obviously the extreme, but we're dying this inner death. And for me, yesterday, letting go of that yesterday is really about understanding that we all have these stories. That was my story, and I made a decision at that age in my 5-year-old head that I was never going to not speak up for who I was. Like that drove me, that whatever I wanted in my life, I was going to speak up for that. And people around me, I'm going to make sure that they don't lower their voice. They don't diminish their voice either. And I get the opportunity now to work with big corporations, leaders of companies, and one of my passions is to actually help elevate women within corporations, particularly women, particularly underrepresented groups, to give them a voice, to give them skills so that they can be in C-suite positions, so that they can sit on boards, so that they have influence and power to be able to be a force of good. But we can't do that. And this is one of my drivers, because I want to make sure that people and groups that have not had that voice in their life, or that their voice has been shut down for whatever reason, that we can bust through that. We all have that. We all have our stories. And I made that commitment that I was going to make a different choice. And I invite you to do the same. Because here's the thing, right? We, each of us, have these secrets that we carry around with us. We've all had these experiences that are traumatic at times, that have hurt us, that have crippled us, that have maimed us in some way, that they're preventing us from really stepping into our power and our greatness as individuals. The great Persian poet Rumi, he calls it the open secret. And the reason he calls it open is because it's a secret that we, each of us, carry around, these dark, difficult, trying experiences that we go through, but we never share them. You know, you and I meet at an event, or we catch up, we connect with people on the street that, you know, we haven't seen for a long time, and the interaction goes something like this. Hey, how are you doing? I'm doing great. How are you? I'm doing good. How are the kids? Kids are doing well. You know, their oldest is in school. You know, we have this kind of like this small chit chat conversation where everything's beautiful, everything's rosy. And we don't share that our youngest is not doing good in school. The oldest one is maybe about to go on drugs. Our marriage is falling apart. Our finances are shaky right now. We sell on all the good stuff. And so what happens is the other person walks away from that interaction thinking, wow, my life's not so good. I really don't have my act together. Everything is so amazing for him. Everything's so amazing for her. And so my invitation to you is to recognize that we're all in the same boat, whether it's a difficult upbringing, our parents were absent, or we lived a certain kind of lifestyle where we didn't have our needs, we didn't have, whatever it is, we have a story, we have an experience, we have a lot of people call it baggage, but it's a story that we bring to the table, and it can either be baggage in the sense that it holds us back, it really prevents us because we now carry that story, and it becomes a crutch as a reason to not move forward and really to achieve our goals in life. Or it becomes part of who we are. We get to embrace that story, we get to honor it, and we get to look back and we reflect on it, and we say thank you, because there is a lesson learned, because in some way that story or that experience has made us stronger, it's made us richer, it's made us more conscious, it's taught us how to act differently with our kids or with our spouse or in the workplace. We're going to show up differently because of those experiences. But it's a choice. Every day that we live is a choice. Yesterday is gone. We can't change that past. We can't change what happened. We can't choose differently, but today we can choose. Today we can choose to reflect back on those stories and decide how they are going to shape us. Because we want to embrace our stories, we want to embrace who we are, but we don't want them to define who we are. So today, make a decision. Look at everything that's happened in your life, embrace it because it has shaped who you are, and then take the time to dig deep, to internally ask the questions that maybe you've never asked before. How has it changed you? How has it shaped you? What have you learned? How are you going to show up differently as a human being as a result? So that you can take this story and you can use it to turn things around, to be more conscious, to be more compassionate about the challenges that other people are going through, and to empower other people who are perhaps going through those struggles and those challenges that you experienced. Yesterday is gone. Today is a new beginning. And it's time for you to make a choice about how you're going to redefine your previous stories, your past experiences, in order to create a new you that is vibrant, that is conscious, that is alive, and that is the driving force for who you are, who you choose to become in this world, and what you have to offer. Thank you.